Picture the scene on Good Friday. Jesus was abandoned by most of his disciples, rejected by the very people he came to save, and sentenced to the most horrific kind of execution known in the Roman Empire, crucifixion. At first glance, Jesus' death on the cross seems to be his moment of defeat, a great tragedy, the end of his mission. And in his dying moments, in his agony on the cross, he cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" What do these mysterious words mean? Was Jesus completely abandoned by his Father on the cross? These words would have been familiar to a Jew of the first century, for they come from the Jewish scriptures. What Jesus is actually doing is reciting the first words of Psalm 22, which describes a righteous man who is suffering greatly at the hands of his enemies. He feels as if he has been abandoned by God. The righteous man goes on to tell how his enemies will pierce his hands and his feet. They will divide his garments among them, and for his raiments they will cast lots. They will mock him, saying, "He committed his cause to the Lord. Let him deliver him." This is exactly what happened to Jesus on Good Friday. Psalm 22 prophetically foreshadows Christ's sufferings on the cross. But that's not the end of the story. The psalm also describes how God's righteous servant remains confident in the Lord. He trusts that the God of Israel will save him, and he sees that his suffering will bring about God's reign over all the earth. The psalm reaches its climax with these triumphant words, "All the ends of the earth shall remember and turn to the Lord. All the families of the earth shall worship before him. For dominion belongs to the Lord, and he rules over the nations." So Jesus' cry from the cross, far from being a cry of despair, is actually a prayer of great hope. Jesus quotes Psalm 22, and in so doing, shows his trust in the Father, that his crucifixion was all a part of God's plan to bring his kingdom and salvation to the whole world.